California on the brink.
In 2008, California experienced a budget crisis.
In the midst of the greatest economic crisis since the Great Depression.
Governor Schwarzenegger declared it a fiscal emergency in which California faced a $14 billion deficit, growing to over $40 billion in the following 2 years. In order to reduce the deficit, legislators had to raise taxes and cut California's spending.
California's day of reckoning is here, and I've proposed the necessary cuts to the 3 largest areas of our budget, which is education, healthcare, and prisons.
Funding for state programs was either greatly reduced or cut entirely. Education alone was cut by more than 20%. This forced state-funded school districts to make the difficult decision on how to manage the significantly smaller budget through fundraising, laying off teachers, or eliminating educational programs. Educators at this time were focused mainly on standardized testing, prioritizing subjects such as math, science, and reading, leaving the extracurriculars to be cut. Extracurriculars such as arts, music, and athletics. Most schools chose to cut the arts. Nearly 10% of teachers let go during this time taught either art or music.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Dorsey. I have taught art out in Canby since 1995, so 16 years. And today at 8:50, I got my layoff notice.
The state of California is being destroyed before our very eyes.
This resulted in numerous protests in which both students and teachers gathered to rally against the California budget cuts. For the next 4 years, California struggled to find its way out of the budget crisis and succeeded when Governor Jerry Brown stepped in and issued a new tax reform along with more efficient budget cuts to put California's economy back in order.
The budget is fixed. I inherited a $27 billion deficit. That's what it was 2 years ago, and that's gone. This budget will be balanced.
Governor Jerry Brown, thanks very much for talking to us.
Although the crisis was over, many schools still struggled to fund their programs, forcing them to decide which to cut and which to keep. The vast majority of public schools chose to cut art programs and teachers. Adams High School in California offers visual arts and band classes only 60% of the time, while drama, dance, photography, and mass media classes have been cut entirely.
In a national survey of over 1,000 teachers, 66% of them say arts and music are being downsized to focus more on other subjects.
The decreased funding in state education caused many schools to look for alternative revenue. This means administrators who decide where to cut in schools look to cut as many programs as they can, in order to focus their remaining funds on building the program that makes the most money for them.
Well, I think Palos Verdes High School has an excellent athletics program. I enjoy the basketball and the football quite a bit.
Popular sports tend to garner more revenue for schools than any other program offered.
Assume that athletics gets a heck of a lot more money for their programs than the performing arts would be getting, but I think that was kind of true at all the schools I've been at.
By selling tickets to the game, concessions, and merchandise, schools can gather a higher income. The school also makes money when local sports networks, as well as ESPN, pay the school to feature their high school games.
Here on Time Warner Cable.
And while athletics is beneficial in some ways, such as leadership, teamwork, and a sense of community in the school, arts are better for an individual's learning.
I actually believe that it should be an integral part of any educational system.
I feel like sports are really also important in high school, but they don't turn on the part of the mind that's about problem solving, that's about understanding the creative process.
Art programs have an integral influence in educational matters. Being creative gives an opportunity to have appropriate judgment about qualities of relationships.
I love you and I like you.
I love you and I like you.
In doing so, it allows for freedom of expression and removes strict guidelines and rules that box teenagers in.
Arts is such a different type of subject. It's so subjective. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
And it's never just black and white.
And also my junior year, I joined the all-male dance team, which is probably one of the best decisions ever.
The arts help people express what they cannot put into words, but rather it enables them to share their emotions through a variety of mediums. It teaches the idea of small differences having vast effects, and how to think of things as smaller parts rather than an entity all on its own, and vice versa.
And art is analytical, but in a very subjective, beautiful way, so that no matter who's doing the art, it's great.
Art can be a form of therapy for different types of mental disorders, like depression. Those who suffer from PTSD can use art as a way to cope with the past.
I lost several of my friends on one deployment. I felt better because there was something in me that was dying to get out, and through art I was able to express it.
The different art forms allow those with physical disabilities to find something they excel at. Jamie Brewer of American Horror Story is an award-winning actress with Down syndrome. Paul Smith is an artist who was born with severe cerebral palsy. He creates unique pictures with only a typewriter.
His joy in life is finding ways to be creative.
In addition, autistic children can use art as a means to interact with the world in ways they might not have been able to otherwise, improving one's ability to understand their own emotions and empathize with others, skills that are critical during childhood development.
We've realized so many benefits from it. She can express herself. She can have her self-esteem it's like a way that she communicates.
Arts can also improve a student's academics. Researchers have found that an education in music and theater correlates strongly with higher achievement in both math and reading.
Art has been a very important aspect of humanity. It has transcended through time and has helped sculpt the world's history. It is a way of looking into the past and understanding how those who lived at that time perceived their way of life. It gives us a different insight into the experiences and the struggles of the ages. Through art, we gain a clearer image as to how people have forged history into its current state. We are able to examine the amount of effort people have contributed to fill our society with prosperity and hope. We have seen the pain and loss of those who have died for something greater than themselves, and we have been inspired by the art that has touched us personally. Art and music can bring together people of every age, ethnicity, and language, despite many barriers. It improves learning in students and our culture as a whole. In order to keep growing as a people, art is necessary at every level of our education at the best possible quality it can be. To do this, arts programs need to have just as much funding as the athletics programs. By teaching children and young adults the values and beauty of art, we will be able to leave the world better than before.